JBN, we keep you informed. Man disarmed by Westmoreland residents, hospitalized under police guard. A man is now in hospital under police guard after he pulled a gun on another man during a dispute and was disarmed by residents. The incident happened in Beeston Spring, Westmoreland on Thursday. The police say his injury was caused by a machete while he was being disarmed. Residents later handed over the gun, a .38 revolver containing 3 rounds of ammunition, to the police. The police say his name is being withheld pending further investigations. The Betheltown police report that there was an altercation between 2 men when one of them pulled a gun. The police say on seeing the gun, residents intervened. During the process of disarming him, he was injured with a machete, said a statement from the police corporate communications unit. 2 guns seized in St. James, 8 persons arrested. 8 persons are now in custody, following the seizure of 2 illegal firearms and more than 24 rounds of ammunition in St. James last evening. The police have confirmed that the guns, both 9mm pistols, were found during an operation in the community of Catherine Hall. The police corporate communications unit says more details will be released shortly. A state of public emergency has been in effect in St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland since April 30. Cops report arrest of murder and shooting suspects. The Criminal Investigation Branch, CIB, of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, is reporting the arrest and charge of 3 suspects in relation to separate murders and shootings. 2 men were also charged with illegal possession of firearm this week. The Constabulary's Corporate Communications Unit, CCU, said the most recent instance was the arrest and charge of 21-year-old Roger Gordon, who is a suspect in the murder of a man whose body was recently found on Swansea Avenue in Colgate, St. Anne. Similarly, Nick Roy Hamilton was on Tuesday charged with the murder of 58-year-old Kenneth Lambert. CCU said Lambert, otherwise called Ken, succumbed to injuries he received after being hit with a stone on Main Street in Manchester on Saturday, August 17. Lambert was reportedly walking along the roadway about 1 a.m. when a man approached him and used a stone to hit him in the head. The police also made some breakthrough in a case of shooting with intent and 2 firearm and ammunition seizures. According to the CCU, Davor Francis, also known as Coco, was charged with wounding with intent and illegal possession of firearm and ammunition. The 25-year-old is accused of shooting and injuring 53-year-old Michael Barnett of the Harmonyvale district in Claremont, St. Anne. The police said upon his arrest, Francis was stripped of 1 homemade firearm, 1 12-gauge shotgun, and 3 cartridges. Meanwhile, 47-year-old Mark Winter of a Kingston address was arrested and charged with illegal possession of firearm and ammunition. Winter was accosted and searched by police officers who responded to reports of loud noise at a location on Maxfield Avenue in St. Andrew. A Glock pistol and a magazine containing 10 9mm rounds of ammunition were reportedly seized. Also charged with illegal possession of ammunition is Galvin Calvert of 9 Miles in Bull Bay, St. Andrew. Reports that the police personnel went to the Bubble Hill area of Bull Bay on Friday with a warrant, which was issued under the Firearms Act, during which 2.38 rounds were found on the bed among clothes at his residence. Elderly Westmoreland farmer dies in house fire. An elderly male farmer perished in a fire of yet unknown origin which destroyed his house in Westmoreland on Thursday. The deceased has been identified as 65-year-old Donald Cochran of Little London. Reports are that members of the police force and the fire brigade responded to calls that a house was on fire in the Little London community. Cochran's charred remains were discovered in the rubble after the fire was put out by firefighters. Investigations are being conducted by both the police and the fire brigade. Communication follow-up results in shorter JCF applicants turned away. Several persons who turned out for Thursday's Hanover leg of the Jamaica Constabulary Force's recruitment drive were turned away due to miscommunication regarding adjusted height and weight restrictions for new applicants. Earlier last week, Superintendent Sharon Beeput, the commanding officer for Hanover, had said the JCF was opening its doors to shorter recruits as it looks to enlist hundreds of young persons from Western Jamaica. Male applicants must be at least 5 feet 5 inches in height and weigh no less than 130 pounds. The females must be at least 5 feet 3 inches and weigh at least 120 pounds, BPUT said earlier last week. The height and weight have been waived from the normal 5 feet 7 inches and 135 pounds for men and 5 feet 5 inches and 125 pounds for women. However, those who turned up falling below the original restrictions had their dreams dashed when they were excluded from the exercise. I acted on the directive I was given that the height and weight would be modified, so I was surprised when I learned that it was the old protocol that was used and that several persons were turned away, BPUT said on Friday. I want to publicly apologize to the many persons who were turned away, and I can understand their disappointment. I acted on the information that I was given, so while I was blameless in that regard, I am nonetheless disappointed that persons turned up and were turned away. The JCF recruiting officer who supervised the exercise, Superintendent Enid Ross Stewart, said on Thursday that some potential recruits were being turned away when they turned up at the Rossies High School in Lucy. Today is not bad. We have seen over 250 persons who have already registered, she said when the exercise was about to get underway. We have turned back quite a few because of their height and shortage of subjects. The height for acceptance in the JCF is 5 feet 5 inches for women and 5 feet 7 inches for men. The matriculation requirement is 4 CSEC subjects, and you must have English language, she said. According to the recruitment officer, all the parishes in Area 1, which comprises Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, and Westmoreland, are to have recruitment drives as the JCF looks to beef up its numbers in short order. The truth is, we have done recruitment drives in Westmoreland and St. James since this year, so we have been in Area 1 twice already. Westmoreland was not bad. St. James was a disaster. But Hanover is looking good today, and I'm really proud to be here today to see the turnout, said Ross Stewart. She said that the JCF will be staging an exposition in Area 1 on the last Saturday in October at a venue to be announced. Following that, a recruitment exercise would be staged in Trelawney. We are really seeking to find 5,000 members to join the JCF, to really bring it to its established numbers, and to fill the attrition rate so that by 2022 we hope to have our established numbers of 16,000 members. The recruitment officer, Ross Stewart, said that in order to ensure that only persons of sound character are recruited, the JCF is using a rigorous vetting process with intensive background checks and several stages of screening. We are seeking to find the best persons to serve Jamaica, she said. Truck rejects JTA boss Cat 9 calls as medieval. The Justice Minister slammed the newly installed Jamaica Teachers Association JTA president's call for convicted pedophiles and drivers who caused death by reckless driving to be flogged with the Cat 9 as part of their punishment. In an interview following his installation at the recent annual JTA conference in Montego Bay, St. James, Owen Speed said that convicted pedophiles should be routinely flogged with the once feared Cat 9. Pedophiles should not only be sent to prison, but they should receive lashes of the Cat 9 when going in and should also be taken out of their cells periodically and lashed, Speed said. He added that reckless motorists who cause death by dangerous driving should also be whipped. I would also recommend that those drivers on the road who use their vehicles as missiles and destroy people's lives be subjected to lashes of the Cat 9 also, said Speed, who has since defended his position in several interviews. However, Delroy Chuck, the Justice Minister, has said that this is archaic thinking and that the Cat 9 has no place in a civilized society. Flogging represents a medieval response to lawbreakers, Chuck said as he weighed in on the matter. It is sad to see that a leader of a respectable organization is calling for the return of flogging. Chuck said that his position, which is in sync with that of the government, is that there is no place for any such punishment in the nation's justice system. Flogging of any kind by the state is not sanctioned and is considered abhorrent, so violence of all kind should be avoided, said Chuck. 3-year-old boy dies after being struck by car. Police say they're investigating the death of a 3-year-old boy after he was hit by a car in the community of Greenvale on the outskirts of the parish capital on Friday. The victim has been identified as O'Shea Morris. Reports are that about 3:30 p.m., the child ran onto the roadway and was hit. The police were summoned and was taken to the hospital where he was pronounced dead on arrival. The police's corporate communications unit said the driver of the motor vehicle is in custody. KC head boy helped 3,000 students prepare for CAPE. As Chad Rattray buckled down to prepare for his final set of external examinations at Kingston College, KC, his focus wasn't just on how well he would perform. The outgoing KC head boy, who thought it was necessary to assist students across the island, hosted review seminars for students preparing to sit Caribbean Studies in the Caribbean Advanced Proficiency Examinations, CAPE. Closer to the CAPE examinations, I would have held 3 marathons. They were on Instagram Live, and one was held at the University of Technology. Overall, approximately 3,000 students were reached through all platforms, Rattray said. He said that Caribbean Studies was chosen because it was a subject I found that I could teach because I was teaching students before that. The marathons were an extension of an initiative Rattray started in his lower 6th form year when he held after-school sessions with grade 11 students at his school focused on English A and social studies. Although he attained grade 1s in Caribbean Studies, Management of Business and Sociology, and a grade 2 in Caribbean History, he said that the success of the students he helped means more to him. On results day, I heard from a lot of those students who would have benefited, and a lot of them got 1s and distinctions. Those whose teachers said they would have failed or so on, they ended up with a grade 3 or 4, which is better than a failure, Rattray said. He said that balancing his own studies and assisting others was not always easy. It was highly difficult. I had to be balancing the business of being head boy and trying to be a cut above the rest, Rattray said. He added that the support of his principal, family, and the church kept him going as he juggled the activities. My principal most definitely played a big part. He supported me throughout my years at KC. We had a very sharp connection. Teachers and other staff were pretty supportive of me, he reflected. The former young parliamentarian sees his future in government but wants to have a foundation in law. I think that law would be more practical in helping me to better understand the policies, the Constitution, and other laws of the country, he said. The 19-year-old will be pursuing a law degree at the University of the West Indies, Mona, come September. Tint man found dead in Stony Hill. Just a week after celebrating the 100th birthday of their patriarch, Albert Lynch, a St. Thomas family has been plunged into mourning after a family member was murdered. Lynch's grandson, Kemar Taylor, was found dead in Stony Hill, St. Andrew on Wednesday night. Family members said that Taylor, who lived in Kingston, was last seen alive about 5 p.m. Wednesday. At that time, Taylor said he was on his way to do a tinting job on a car. The corporate communications unit of the Jamaica Constabulary Force said that Taylor, 34, late of a Lindsay Terrace address in St. Andrew, was shot and killed on Brooks Level Road, Stony Hill, about 5:25 p.m. on Wednesday. He leaves an 8-year-old daughter behind. Taylor's mother, Jacinth Lynch, had to be taken to the Princess Margaret Hospital for treatment after she collapsed, having been told of her son's demise. Tony and Barrett, Taylor's cousin, said their grandfather recently had a bad dream that suggested something bad was going to happen. "We no tell Papa anything yet, cause him say him dream say, him see one of him dead relative come for him and a hold him hand and a carry him away," Barrett said. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to like, subscribe, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.